The Kaduna State Governor, Mukhtar Yero, has expressed worry over the security arrangement that led to the attack on 2 banks in the state last night. No fewer than 3 people were killed after armed gunmen attacked the commercial banks in Saminaka headquarters of Lere local government area with guns and improvised explosive devices. Eyewitnesses told Channels Television that the gunmen, numbering over 20, stormed the 2 banks and surrounding houses, carting away huge sums of money. The Kaduna State Police Commissioner, Mr. Olufemi Adeleke, who confirmed the incident, however, said that the attackers were not able to gain access into the banks.
As I told you yesterday, they started attacking with a lot of IEDs, and they were firing all over the place, scaring people away. But my men and the soldiers woke up and rose up to that challenge, and they actually gave them a fight. It was due to this fight that they couldn't penetrate any of the 3 banks that they attacked, and they had to leave with their wounded ones or dead ones, and they ran away. So I'm here to actually see for myself what happened. Police, we lost 2 men, 2 sergeants, and the army lost 1 man.
Felt really, really bad. These things are happening for the second time. The same banks and the same system that were used previously, and it's a source of concern and worry. But the good thing is that the security agencies that were around have done a good job by attacking them also, and at the same time by making them to run away. But at the same time, we have to still look at the whole issue and see the security arrangement of this area so that we ensure that this thing does not happen again by God's grace.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the PDP to recognize Professor Adewale Oladipo as the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. The court also directed the PDP to rectify its records to reflect the replacement of former Osun State Governor, Mr. Olagunsoye Oyinola, with Professor Oladipo within 3 days. Justice Abdul Kadir Abdul Kafarati, in a ruling today, also held that the nomination of Professor Oladipo at the extraordinary Southwest Zonal Congress of the PDP, which held in Ibadan on the 13th of July, was proper and followed due compliance.
All positions were zoned to particular states. The post of National Secretary was given to Osun State. And, along the line, some things happened. And I think the judgment today has corrected that anomaly, where the national secretaryship of the party will move from Osun State to another state. It's an abnormal situation. And I think this judgment has corrected that. I give kudos to our leaders.
In 2012, Charles Taylor, former Liberian president, was found guilty of 11 crimes, including terrorism, rape, murder, and the use of child soldiers during Sierra Leone's vicious civil war of 1991 to 2002. After more than a year of appealing that sentence, a UN-backed special court in The Hague yesterday upheld the ruling, which will see former Liberian President Charles Taylor spend 50 years behind bars. In this exclusive interview with the chairman, CEO of Channels Television, Mr. John Momoh, in Calabar, Cross River State, Mr. Taylor, who has maintained his innocence throughout his time in court, explains his role in the crisis and the bitter experience of some Nigerians during the conflict.
I led a civil revolt in Liberia as leader of the NPFL for 7 years. There are no incidents in Liberia of any cutting off of limbs in Liberia throughout the 7 years of the Liberian Civil War. And I led the largest rebel faction. Following the war, I was elected by 85% of the population. What does that tell you? It tells you that I conducted myself in line with international law.
Mr. President, there are facts, reports of maiming, hacking of limbs, raping women, and killing children. If you're not responsible, who is responsible?
Well, look, let's look at wars across Africa. If we look at wars across Africa, there have been reasons. There have been countries that have invaded other countries, occupied them for some time. The troops have left on the African continent. Things happen in those countries. In my case, there were no Liberian troops that went across the border. Charles Taylor, as president of Liberia, wants to be held accountable for anything that I did to the Liberian people. And I would not hesitate a second to return to Liberia to answer any question in Liberia about torture, murder, anything in my country, because I did not do it. I have no fears about returning to Liberia. And what ECOWAS and the AU are doing, they are not shielding me from my people. Some Nigerians have been concerned about my being there. Can you imagine in Nigeria where a Nigerian, maybe a former leader or official of government, that your country is not pursuing? A resolution is drafted at the United Nations that's saying that Victor Owusu here must be, his assets must be frozen. This must happen to him, and that must happen to him against the wishes of the Nigerian government, the Nigerian legal system, and the people. It's crazy. It's wrong, and I think that we ought to be very careful, because this move, it's globalization, the one-world government, this could be the beginning, and Liberia is the test.
Many other Nigerians are very angry about your stay in Nigeria, and this has to do with the 2 Nigerian journalists that were killed in the war in Liberia while you were president. Did you kill them?
2 Nigerian journalists were killed by a colonel of the then MPFL by the name of Putu Major. Putu Major was arrested. He was court-martialed, tried, and executed for the killing of those 2 journalists. The MPFL then, I dispatched my information officer here to Nigeria, met with the families of the 2 journalists, explained the issue, offered them a small envelope in consolidation with them. They refused it. The killing of those journalists were wrong. I did not accept it, and I took action. Those 2 journalists that were killed caused the execution of Colonel Putu Major. You go to Liberia now and ask anyone, they will tell you Putu Major was executed by the MPFL on my command.
For the interview of Mr. Charles Taylor with Channels Television's chairman and CEO, Mr. John Momoh, log into www.channelstv.com or www.youtube.com/channelsweb. Meanwhile, reactions have continued to trail Charles Taylor's conviction. David Anyele, a Nigerian who had his limbs amputated in Freetown, Sierra Leone, purportedly on the orders of Mr. Taylor, says the sentences is a triumph of justice. He is also asking the Nigerian government to rehabilitate him and other Nigerian victims of the Sierra Leonean War who were doing legitimate business at that time.
Before my limbs were chopped off in Freetown, I recall vividly that Captain Gotin, while we were negotiating for the release of Nigerians who were held hostage by the rebels, he told me personally that they are coming from Monrovia, from Executive Mansion. Executive Mansion is Charles Taylor's office. And he told me that they are working under the instruction of Charles Taylor. And he also told me that they are in a league. Their agenda is to kill Nigerians. I asked him why. He said that Nigerian government is stopping them from achieving their aim of capturing Freetown. That the only way they can stop this is only if they get instruction from Charles Taylor. So if Charles Taylor is claiming that he has no link to what happened, there is a lot of evidence. this is just because he wanted to reap the diamond of Freetown, Sierra Leone, and use it to execute his, private agenda. This is what led to all this. I want to use this opportunity to call on President Goodluck Jonathan. I know he is good in, when he hears this kind of issues, he responds positively. I'm calling on President Goodluck Jonathan to call on the Minister of Foreign Affairs to rehabilitate us.